Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for, this is your August 2025 bonus reading. You have this Meditate and Contemplate card and this Look at the Bigger Picture card. It is a good time to, look at the big picture and to zoom out. I think, when we kind of look at things, our life in general, and we look at how far we have come, it can make things that we're about to do a lot easier, right? So I think sometimes looking at the big picture, of course, is a good idea. Basically putting things into perspective so that you can, see what you need to do in your life. And, I think that would be a good thing for you. I kind of feel like it's like there's something here about like working too hard, Libra. And, I feel like it's saying that you don't have to work so hard, or maybe you're making things like too hard here in your life. And this could be in any area of your life, basically. It doesn't have to be, one thing or the other. It's funny that you have this Royal You card. I'll show you in a minute, but I'm pretty sure you get that card with me a lot. And if that is like such a Libra card, we'll talk about it in a minute. You have the Seven of Swords here in your current general energy. Seven of Swords is how you're entering into the reading. The first card in the Celtic Cross is, again, how you are entering into the reading. And sorry, I was tapping with Brad there, if you can see that. But there we go. So I feel for a lot of you that the Seven of Swords is talking about looking for better ways of doing things. We're entering into a new world. I mean, you even have the Tower. I wouldn't worry too much about the Tower yet. In your reading, that might change. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, that's for sure. But, part of me feels like, the Tower has come up a lot over the past 2 years, but it's really, we're in a time of great change. It's not even, I don't even think it's something that's, dramatic, right? I think it just is what it is. I think it's the astrology. We had all these major planets change signs basically at the same time, right? Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, all at the same time, within a year, basically, of each other. And, that, never happens. Neptune, I think, I don't think I said Neptune, but maybe I did. So, whenever this happens, it's like we're literally entering into a new world. Things are changing. And, I think that the Seven of Swords is saying sometimes we have to do things differently. I do feel like the Seven of Swords is encouraging you to have more fun. I do feel like you're taking something too seriously here, Libra. I'm not sure what it is yet, but it's like, I would say that it's something like where you feel like you have to fit into something or stick to something is kind of popping into my head. Well, I'll just tell you. Your next card, your crossing energy is the Hierophant. The crossing energy can be what hurts you or helps you in a Celtic cross, but the Hierophant, is sometimes good thinking inside the box. Like sometimes it's a good thing to follow the Hierophant's rules, but sometimes it's a bad thing. Sometimes it just keeps you stuck to only see one way of doing things when there are many. And that's the whole point of the Hierophant, is that he kind of says you have to stay open and flexible to all the ways of doing things in life, and if you do that, then things will go well. And so I would just be open to all ways of doing things with the Hierophant. I really feel that you have the keys to success. It's like popping into my head that some of you, it's almost like you have these keys that, but I think you have to open these doors here, Libra, and I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. It's I just see, I feel like there are certain things that if you would do them, it's that you need to do these certain things, and if you would do them, that it would open doors for you. It's maybe a good example I could give you is YouTube. It's if I had less of a personality than I do right now, I probably wouldn't do very well on YouTube, right? But it's everybody knows that people who have big personalities do well on YouTube. And so it's that is a key that would open a door, right? That would maybe make things better. And it's that's kind of what I feel for you. It's there are certain things, that if you did them, that it would open doors. But, I think you have to do them. And again, you're all different. It's going to be different for all of you. And, the Seven of Swords says, is a card of taking things too seriously. He has these polka dots on his cloak. And polka dots in the tarot want us to be more playful. Basically, polka dots show up when we're taking things too seriously. And we need to not do that. So there you go. Definitely could be marriage potential for you, by the way. You've been getting love recently with me, very recently, and, it definitely shows up in this reading as well. Next, you have the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles is coming up in the area of what's on your mind. And so Five of Pentacles can represent feeling left out in the cold or feeling like you're going to be left out in the cold. I do kind of feel this is like more of a future projection here, Libra. The other thing is that this card says, I always say that the easy solution to the Five of Pentacles is to focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. Double down on what you're good at and get better at the things that you're already good at, and your life will get better, right? It's very simple advice, but it works. So that's what I would do here with the Five of Pentacles. Again, I also feel that, I do feel like we're kind of in a time where we have to make these, slightly scary decisions. If I do this, am I going to be abandoned? Even if we look at the astrology, I think there are some things that really kind of stand out to me that remind me of, orphaned energy, right? Where, not, literally, but more figuratively. We could be fearing, I know I need to go find a new job, but if my boss finds out I'm going to go find a new job, then they're going to fire me, and then I'm not going to find a job. It's it's like those fears that stack on top of each other. And I feel like that's what you could be, kind of worrying about things. It's kind of the feeling I get from part of this reading as well, is that you could be worrying about things that you just don't need to worry about, and kind of telling yourself stories. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say here, is be careful of the stories you tell yourself, because really it's not that bad. Next, in your foundation, you have the Two of Cups, which is amazing. Two of Cups in your foundation really does say you have nothing to worry about this month. The Two of Cups can be love, absolutely, but, let's talk about something else for a second. The Two of Cups can be you and your higher self. So the card itself can say that you are getting a lot of support from your higher self, and, that could be just a good thing. That could make you very happy. That could lead to a lot of abundance and success in your life and joy and, all those other things. So I feel for a lot of you, I feel pretty good about this is, kind of what I'm trying to say. I feel that for a lot of you, this is your higher self is kind of guiding you. It's kind of like saying there's nothing to worry about, even though you could be, like I said, it's like those stacking worries that, I hope that makes sense. That's what's popping into my head. Like I said, it's like a worry that leads to a worry. You need to get a job, but maybe you're worried that your boss is going to find out, then you'll get fired, then you won't find a job. It's like one after another is how I'm seeing it in my head. And I feel like the Two of Cups is saying, don't worry. You have nothing to worry about. You're being guided by your higher self, right? It definitely could be love coming in for you. You've had love showing up recently that has really stood out to me. I don't know, it just feels different. And in the area of your next few months, which we'll talk about in a minute, you have the King of Cups, which, definitely could be love. Next, in the area of your past position, this is the energy you are moving past. You have this Oracle's Gift card and this Royal You card. I don't think you're necessarily moving past this. This Royal You card is a very Libra card. So, I feel a lot of you could be looking to create the nicer things in life. I do feel like the Oracle's Gift card is saying definitely it's time to trust your intuition. Two of Cups, again, we really have to trust our inner guidance system, and that's what I would be trusting here with these cards. You have the Six of Swords. I do feel like you're heading towards an improvement. The Tower really could be an improvement. Again, I always like to tell people the Tower is an improvement. If we didn't have Tower moments, we would all still be wearing diapers. I don't know about anyone else, but I am very glad that I don't still wear diapers, right? So it's like, yeah, the Tower can be uncomfortable. We have to enter into this new reality. And, it's like when we're babies, I don't remember very much about what I thought when I was a baby, but I'm sure when my mom was potty training me, I was probably like, what do you mean I can't crap my pants anymore? I'm sure I resisted it. We probably all did, right? And so, the Tower is kind of like saying, it can be a Tower moment, but at the same time, it can lead to a brighter reality or something better, right? Like I said, I'm glad I don't crap my pants anymore. I don't know about anyone else. So, there you go. I think you're just moving on to something bigger and better. Now we get to the good stuff here, Libra. This card spoke to me the second I picked it up. It's this Soldier card, right? And you have this Servant card as well. I feel like saying, what are you, a servant to? I almost feel that this Soldier card, when we think about soldiers, they're very disciplined. They have to follow all these military rules and all these things, right? Sometimes I think we make these rules up for ourselves, right? I cannot, and this is something that I didn't wake up to until maybe a couple years ago, where when I started really working with people on YouTube, for example, right? And I started to realize that a lot of people, I don't know how to perfectly explain it, but I started realizing that people come up with these rules that they think exist that don't exist about everything, about YouTube, about business, about love, everything. And, I kind of feel like that's what's going on here. It's there might be certain things that you believe to be true. And we have the Hierophant crossing, right? Hierophant can be traditional belief. It can be morals, ethics, values, things like that. But at the same time, it could say, like, are you a slave to some of your beliefs? Or, like, I don't know. And again, there is no right or wrong here, by the way, Libra. There might be some rules that are very important for you. There might be some other rules that you just realize aren't important to you. And so it's not like a good or a bad thing. It's just saying, like, are you almost being, like, too regimented in your day-to-day life? And is being too, is, like, you not being flexible enough, is that preventing you from, being more successful, right? And, that's what I would say here with that soldier card. It's like sometimes I'm a total rule breaker. I break a lot of rules, so I'll say that, but, I think that really, most successful people have broken rules. We're not talking about breaking laws here either, but we're talking about, sometimes, like, you have to bend the rules to make things work. And again, we're not talking about doing anything necessarily bad. We're just saying, it's like I said, it's like people come up with stuff all the time that they say is a rule, but it really isn't. And I feel like you have to break free from some of those beliefs. I feel you already know this. In the area of your very near future, you have the Knight of Pentacles. You're like ready to go, is kind of the feeling I get here, Libra. I feel like you're ready. It's almost like you're ready to take off. I feel like some of you are ready to get working on a new life, but there's still a little bit of hesitation with this Five of Pentacles. Again, I wouldn't beat yourself up. August, I mean, we still have Mercury Retrograde for almost half the month, and again, we'll be in the shadow for over half the month, so like, is there really a rush? No. I think it's a great time to plan things. I'm looking at it right now. I literally just bought a big-ass whiteboard. It's like 8 feet long. I kid you not. And so I bought this big-ass whiteboard, right, because I am going to be planning some new things out. I think that is an amazing thing to do this month, is to, like, not rush anything. I'm not rushing anything. I'm not really starting anything, even though what I'm working on is something I've already been working on, right? But I'm just planning it out. I'm putting it in front of me so I can see it. I'm very visual. I need to see it in front of me, right? And so it's like that's what's popping into my head with this Knight of Pentacles. You don't necessarily have to get started on anything that you're thinking about. You don't have to really kind of like put in a ton of work, but I think it would be an amazing time for you to like plan things that you want in your life, plan out your future, come up with different ideas and like all this other stuff, right? So, I don't know, that's what's popping into my head with that card. Next, for your outcome, you have this expecting card. It says potential, beginnings, nurture, and duty. You have this earth card. It says stability, fertility, balance, and nurture. So 2 cards that both say nurture on them. So you could be nurturing something. A lot of people have been getting this pregnancy stuff. So again, obviously, if you can get pregnant, I feel like I shouldn't have to explain this, but I do. If you can't get pregnant, this part of the message is not for you. So again, that should be pretty freaking obvious, but okay. What I would say here is if you can, then, obviously be careful if you don't want to. If you do, then go for it. But, a lot of pregnancy cards coming up this month. But other than that, I feel like you need to nurture what you care about, plain and simple. Even the Knight of Pentacles, he needs to nurture the seeds that he plants in that field behind him. Like, the better he takes care of something, the better it will do. And you can also use this as a guide for yourself. People have asked me before, they'll say something to me like, oh, I'm working on this, business, but I don't feel like I want to nurture it. I'm like, then you probably don't really want to do it, right? And so it's like, something that you should do, you will want to nurture, right? And if you don't want to nurture it, you probably don't want to really be doing something. I'm wondering if you're having one of those realizations with the Tower this month. It's, again, I wish I had some better examples, but I've talked to people in the past. Like, even in my YouTube course, I've had people who, like, they realize that, like, I think they, on some level, realize that they don't want to do YouTube, and, they'll come to me, and again, I'm not criticizing anyone here, I'm just making a point, but, they'll come to me and they'll say, I don't want to be on camera, they'll come up with a list of things they don't want to do, but also they'll kind of, like, say things to me, like, but I love writing, and all this other stuff. I'm like, maybe you should write, and they'll say things to me like, but I have to be on YouTube to grow my business. I'm like, there are plenty of people online that have made tons of money with writing and grown their businesses online with writing, right? It's like, so remember, we're talking about rules here, right? It's like, that's a rule that those people have made up in their head. I need to be on YouTube because that's what someone told me I have to do. And I can't do writing, even though that's what I really want to do, right? And that is a Tower moment, right? Like, when we finally admit to ourselves, like, what we actually want to be doing in life, that is a Tower moment. In the area of the next few months, you have the King of Cups. Definitely could be love for those of you that want love. I feel there could be a very strong connection. Could be any sign. Everybody gets the King of Cups, and again, I always say that sometimes the kings to me are just archetypes, and so the King of Cups could be someone who has very deep emotions. But I think right now, King of Cups people are more attractive. Doesn't matter, male, female, whatever gender you're into. The reason is he's in these choppy waters, but he's perfectly fine. The whole point of the card is that he has chaos going on around him, but he's not worried about it. So, the whole point of the card is he's not worried about what's going on around him. And that's pretty much it. I think the more you can not worry about what's going on around you, the better here, Libra. And, I would just say, but also I think you could be attracting a person like this. Also, by the way, this card can sometimes represent a move. There are some cards in the tarot that I call clue cards. The King of Cups to me is a clue for the home. And so sometimes I think the King of Cups can represent a move or traveling or, something like that. So I do feel like a lot of you could be like moving or traveling with the King of Cups over the next few months. Next, in the area of your closest relationships, this is all relationships in your life. You have this Wheel of Fortune card. I feel like someone not only do you have keys, I feel like there could be people returning to your life that have keys for you as well. It's like you're the master of keys apparently this month. I feel like you're getting a bunch of doors, opening a bunch of doors this month. That's kind of the feeling I get. Now, I'm not exactly ready to say that because I would like to see some other cards that would kind of represent that. Maybe like some portal cards. This is kind of a portal card, but I'm talking about like the Ace of Pentacles or something like that. We'll see what comes up, but it's almost like you are just opening a lot of doors. Now, I'm not talking about just love here. This could just be people. Again, this part of the reading represents all relationships in your life. There might be friends, family, people you care about that are kind of, it's almost like people are coming to you with ideas or, people are saying things to you. I think I said this to you in your last reading, but it kind of makes sense with Uranus and Gemini because Uranus and Gemini is like downloading ideas, like on a Chris's crappy astrology level. I think a lot of us are downloading ideas and guidance and things like that. So, that could be very good. It will change your life with the Wheel of Fortune. Next, in the area of your future feelings, you show up here, Libra, as yourself, as the Justice card. So whenever you show up as yourself, it puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. So, that definitely looks amazing. I think there could be a lot of success coming in for you here with the Justice card. I also feel that you are kind of like balancing things out. I am hearing here as well, Libra, that you're balancing things out for yourself and nobody else. I think that maybe this is the time that you're coming off of, is that for a long time you've tried to balance things out for other people, and I think you're realizing that you have to balance things out for yourself. And it's kind of like a big picture thing. You have that card that says look at the big picture. It's like when you realize when you balance yourself out, everything around you balances out, then you don't need to balance out other people, right? You have the Tower. Yeah, I feel this is a very important card for you. You definitely could be having a Tower moment. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's like, but again, I think this is a, maybe some sort of realization where it's like you're realizing, oh, I don't want to do this, I want to do that. It's like there's some sort of difference here, and we'll clarify through and we'll see what comes up. And there you go. So let's see here, Libra, what we get when we clarify. With the Hierophant and the Seven of Swords, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Pretty good. A lot of people have been getting the Eight of Pentacles, which is interesting. I don't know. What I would say is this could be good for money. Part of me feels like the Eight of Pentacles is saying the work you do now is really going to pay off in the future. So, and again, this could be like planning work. I don't know why I have planning popping into my head. I never say that with that Knight of Pentacles. Again, and I don't really think the whiteboard that I'm staring at is kind of influencing this reading. But, it just popped into my head. And that you need to like plan something out or planning, you have that card. It says, look at the big picture. Again, that's why I'm putting everything on the whiteboard so I can look at it all in front of me and then make decisions. And maybe that's what you need to do. With the Five of Pentacles, you have the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is a card of conviction. It says, when you know that something is for you, it's for you. I feel like you need to put boundaries up against things that make you feel weak. This could be people, places, or things. I feel like I say this to you all the time, Libra, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but like years ago, I watched this guy. Unfortunately, I'm not going to remember his name, but he was on Impact Theory. But anyway, he was talking about something about how he decided like years ago that he was going to stop listening to like songs that make him him feel bad, TV shows that make him feel bad, and all that other stuff. So it's like after I watched that, I did that. I stopped listening to things that talk about sad stuff and bad stuff, and changed my life. So again, sometimes I think the Seven of Wands is saying you need to put those types of boundaries up where you protect your brain, right? And again, I think it could be very helpful. With the Two of Cups, you have the Six of Cups. I definitely feel there could be a connection coming in for you. This might not be this month. Again, you have that King of Cups is showing up in the next few months, so this could be a person that comes in this year. It is a very good year for love. This year is like a little bit challenging, but it is a good year for love. So I feel if you're hoping for a connection, the Six of Cups is like a very childlike, happy-go-lucky kind of happy connection. With the Six of Swords, you have the Hierophant. Told ya, can't make that up. It's like you're letting go of some beliefs. Six of Swords, moving on to calmer shores. This woman and the child in this boat, they are completely moving on from the past. They're leaving everything in the past behind them to go for the hopes of a brighter future. So I think a lot of you could be completely moving on from the past and letting something go for the hopes of a brighter future, which I do think would be good for you here, Libra. And with the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Two of Swords. Yeah, it's like time's up, is what I feel like saying. Not in a bad way, right? But if you're trying to make a decision, if you're thinking about doing something in your life, I feel like this is saying, again, I don't think the universe ever really pressures us this much, but, I kind of feel like it's saying, okay, it's like time to turn those keys, time to open those doors, time's up. You got to make your move. She is, like, thinking that she only has two options, but really she has another option behind her on the Two of Swords. But that's like the intuitive message I'm getting on that card is time's up. With the King of Cups, you have the Five of Swords. I feel like saying, yes, someone is single. Literally. Those are the words that are popping into my head. I feel like some of you, this is only for those of you that have your eye on a person already. I feel like if you're wondering, actually, I would also say, like, in the future, if you meet a person, if you're wondering if they're single, yes. For whatever reason, that's what the message I'm getting here. Now, normally Five of Swords would be a breakup or separation, but that's not really what I feel here. I feel like saying, yes, someone is single. I don't know what else to say. Five of Swords can sometimes represent taking a risk or, needing to take a risk on a connection or needing to take a risk to have a connection in your life. So, don't be afraid to take the risk either. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Page of Wands. Page of Wands is about adventurousness, and I do think it is a good time to go on adventures. I also think it's a good time to, like, spend time with people who matter to you. It's a good time to, like, make new friends as well, and to meet new people and do new things with your life. And why? I don't know, but it is weird that, like, I don't know, it's been coming up a lot lately for the past couple of months in the reading. So I would do that. The Page of Wands is also a card of following your bliss, right? And this whole entire reading is really kind of saying that, Libra. It's like saying there are certain, the soldier card, right? Like there are certain things you could do that where you would like live like a soldier, where you're like following the rules and you're doing everything right. But that's not what this reading is asking you to do. The reading is asking you to do this. The reading is saying that you need to follow your bliss, which might not be what the soldier wants, right? The soldier lives a certain life. He's been trained a certain way, right? But this is like the opposite is what I feel. So it's almost like you're being pushed to, break free and, like I said, open the doors. With the Justice card, you have the Ace of Wands. Out with the old, in with the new. Yes, you can't make it up. Tower, right? We have this castle that's crumbling in the background of the Ace of Wands. It's basically like a tower. So a lot of you are clearly letting go of something from the past to have something new. With the Tower, you have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, Nine of Wands is like throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. The Nine of Wands says it could be an amazing time for you to experiment, try new things, see where things are going in life. It could also be you protecting yourself from some sort of tower moment. And so, like, again, if there is like an obvious thing that wouldn't be good for you, don't do it, right? You have this Hills card. It says obstacles to overcome. This is like a very common energy right now. Again, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think we're in a time where if we are going to try to do something, there will be like little annoyances that pop up that remind us of the past, and we just have to push through those little annoyances because they're hills, they're not mountains, right? So don't make a big deal out of the tiny little obstacles. And just because there's a tiny little obstacle doesn't mean you should quit on something you're trying to do. You have this goldfish. It says increase in material wealth and spiritual growth. Yes, that's what I would focus on. Eight of Pentacles. Plain and simple. I think that you could be making a lot more money. You have this wild card. It says misunderstandings. Yeah, I mean, Mercury retrograde this month, right, of August and July. So, really, I think we just need to make sure that we're being clear with our words and that we are communicating clearly and all that other good stuff. And if we do that, we'll be fine. So I would just be clear. You have this fox that says shrewdness and resourcefulness, especially in business. Seven of Swords. This card always reminds me of the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords in business says, he comes up with the best ways to do things. And, that's what I would be looking for with these cards. You have this March card, and this knot says unsuccessful plans. I would say that if you had some sort of unsuccessful plan in March, that you could be moving on from it. Yeah, I almost feel like this is saying, like, don't give something a second chance that clearly isn't going to work. Again, like, sometimes I think we know that something isn't going to work again, and, we know it's not right, and we try it again anyway. I feel like this is almost saying, like, there are things you can avoid, or wasting energy could be something that you could avoid. So especially if something returns from the month of March. But this looks pretty good here, Libra. Even with that tower, I really just think that's you going from one thing to another. It's like you're admitting something to yourself. It could be uncomfortable, absolutely, and it could feel like a little bit of risk, but I think you need to do it. Anyway, so thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.